Good afternoon. I'm Doug Stowe, representing ChangeAerial. Currently, methods for inspecting the condition of electric grids are manual, very expensive, and costly. This results in less than 10% of the overhead grid infrastructure being inspected annually. That results in less than, which leads to misdetection and grave consequences, including the loss of life. Our approach exploits an immature value chain, delivers step changes in productivity, and disrupts the status quo to accomplish autonomous monitoring that mitigates the risk of misdetection. Machine learning tools have helped the progression towards automatic analytics that increase the effectiveness and the efficiency of grid inspection. However, current AI image-based approaches, which have moved towards automating analytics and for visual inspection, have inherent weaknesses. This includes the images that captured only in a single point in time, high image volumes, expensive processing demands, and unreasonable detection accuracy. ChangeAerial's patented drone imaging approach, repeat station imaging, or RSI, is based on AI anomaly detection that exploits time sequential imagery captured from the same location in space over time. This leads to advantages over single time imagery that allows us to detect anomalies and help inspectors. We are a diverse team with deep domain experience stemming from R&D from San Diego State University and from business financial experience. Our federally funded projects yielded RSI patented technology and IP, which underlines our software products. The value is 6 times greater inspection capacity, as well as delivering industry-leading 98% detection accuracy and lowering median OpEx by $80 per asset. This supports greater ROI for our clients as well as our investors. A truly large market opportunity exists, including SOM at $20 million, SAM at $1 billion plus, and TAM at $3 billion plus. We have significant traction with established software MVPs. We are entering into select proof of concept test cases for validating our value of the product as well as initial revenues. And we're also in due diligence stage for NSF SBIR phase 1 with $270,000 in non-dilutive funding. Okay.
All right, thank you. We have to open it up for the judges panel. Thank you.
I'll start. I want to understand a little bit more about the technology. You mentioned you have patented software. Can you tell me a little bit about the anomaly detection software that you've built?
Sure.
You know, if you're using existing models, building a model, what that looks like.
Yeah. So we exploit a recurrent neural network approach that utilizes these time sequential image sets, right, which is very different than the rest of the market. Maybe I can go to this slide for comparison. So the conventional approach is our one single time images using convolutional neural network AI routines. Every one has to be trained on a very different type of defect, right? And it's very challenging to get examples of defects on imagery because they're kind of the needle in the haystack. So we take an anomaly detection approach. We don't try to identify what the defect is, just that it is a defect. We basically separate noise from time, from shadows and misregistration and things like that. But by capturing them from the same location and time, we're able to register the images or co-align them within about a pixel or two, and these are millimeter scale imagery. So it really is a very different approach. Can I add? Yeah, so our NSF SBIR proposal is basically trying to we'll be connecting our detector with some of these single time image CNNs that are looking at the individual defects, and also bringing in generative AI to create defects that can be used for training as well. So it's a 3-level AI combination.
Just to clarify, you're actually not flying the drones yourself, correct?
I'm sorry?
You're not flying the drones. You're just taking the data set, or are you actually flying the drones?
Yeah, thank you for asking that. Yes, we are not a drone service providing company. We have 5 patents and a PCT pending that involve the type of collection that's required to capture the imagery over time effectively to exploit these AI routines. But we are not in business of collecting. We're not a drone service provider.
Right. So you're sort of reliant on their ability to get their drones into the right places.
Right. So drone service providers, as well as utilities, as well as engineering inspection companies, are our potential customers.
In theory, could you actually take similar data set from, let's say, a VLEO or LEO satellite image of the same location and temporal, right? They actually probably have the ability to go past and revisit probably sooner than some of these drones, depending upon area.
Yeah, they're not going to have the resolution to be able to
right?
Yeah. I mean, our background for this is 25 years worth of this, what we call multi-temporal remote sensing analysis. We've been working this for a long time, and it goes from satellites now down to drones. But that particular application really does require fairly close range imaging, such as from drones.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Can you provide a little bit more insight on to the type of anomalies that you're trying to detect, and kind of if you classify the severity of the anomaly? For example, I know one issue with some of the drone imaging for power lines is that you can't detect fraying. Obviously, vegetation gets in the way, things like that.
Yeah.
As well as power or utilities companies only do a check on these things about once a year, maybe every 6 months. So kind of what are the anomalies? What are the severities? How are they using this information?
Sure. So the cracks, corrosion, bird droppings, there are all kinds of defects that the utility companies are looking for. You can see on the right there a close-up where you can see the drone looking down at a transmission tower. And that's the level of detail that we're seeing. So our flight planner software automates that process, and it can even optimize it. So you can see those 2 different insulators right there, right? Yeah, you're going to have to view that from the other side. So we optimize the collection of all the images so you minimize the number of pictures that are taken, because image volume is a huge issue with this, right? So what is not picked up by the single-time imaging are things that involve movement or deformation, right? So the campfire was caused by a U-bolt that wore down and eventually failed during high winds and caused a spark, right? A single image is not going to see that this is going to fail, this is eroded. Our time-based monitoring approach allows us to do that. And it essentially allows for monitoring as opposed to imaging every 10 years or so, which is the case right now.
Do you have any customers besides the SBIR? Anybody using this?
So we're entering 3 proof of concept tests right now. One is with Los Alamos Laboratory. One is with a large transmission company in Brazil. It's not in here, but we're part of the Esri, the largest GIS software company in the world. We're part of their partner network, and we're working with Imogen, which is the Esri distributor in Brazil that's collaborating with us for the large electric utility company there. And we're also working with a group called Indian Energy that's interested in putting in microgrids into Indian casino resorts and military bases. And there we're looking at thermal infrared monitoring using drone-in-the-box type of technology, and we'll be testing that this summer. So those are our 3 POCs right now. We've hesitated to go after investment support until we had several of these POCs, so we had a little better idea of the value and the pricing.
Tell us a little bit more about your background and the background of your team.
Sure. So I've been a professor at San Diego State University for 41 years, in the field for longer than that. One of my doctoral students is our main software developer. He did his dissertation on this, looking at post-hazard damage assessment. We've taken his software tools. Our San Diego State University Technology Transfer Office gave us some funding to develop the MVPs from that. Pete Coulter is a staff researcher at SDSU. He and I have been doing this multi-temporal change detection thing for a long time with a variety of different use cases. And then we have Andreas Sochu is a business and finance person. He should be giving this talk, but he's in Connecticut, and I apologize for botching it. I've just gotten over a cold and just got my voice back and didn't come out real well, but yeah. So that's our team. We also have a DevOps team. One of my colleagues at SDSU is a geocomputational software developer. He's helping us out, and several of our ex-students are also helping us out so far pro bono.
Just a quick question in terms of how specifically geospatially do you have to be close? Like say it's imaging, sequential imaging, right?
Right.
How many degrees can they actually be different in order for it to be able to be mappable?
Well, it's the degrees, and it's also the XYZ, the position,
yes,
right?
The three-dimensional, yeah.
Right. So the specs on this is about a couple centimeters is what the drone can get back to over time. And that means about a half a degree on the pointing from the gimbal, right? Real-time kinematic or survey-grade GPS is required to get that kind of precision. We're working on testing whether or not that's truly required. Our routines, our image registration routines are really robust. And it may be that you don't really have to have that because it does require greater setup. But most of the utilities have access to, and drone service providers have access to survey-grade GPS on their drones.
Why raising 2 million instead of 1 or half a million? Why 2 million?
We're actually thinking 1 million if we get these POCs done, right? And so we have like a 2 to 3 year, but we think about a $10 to $20 million deliverable within a year, within 2 years, with a 2-year runway on it. Yeah. So if we don't get the POCs, then it might be we might need a little bit more development income for, to get going to maybe to hire some more DevOps people. Right now, nobody's being hired. So.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Professor.
Okay. Thank you.